I think you got to mute, Carlos. We're about to start.
Okay.
Okay.
It says we were unable to connect to Facebook.
Oh yeah, I see that.
We're online on YouTube right now. Hold on, it's on the data again. We're live on, okay, there we go. Now we're good to go on Facebook. We're on YouTube.
Yeah, it should be live everywhere now.
We're live IG and we're live on Twitter. We're good to go, Naz.
We're good to go. Welcome everyone to this celebration of the life of our friend and family, Macdennis. I was friends with Mack for probably 20 years and I loved him. He's basically related to me. I think everyone that's participating in this event can say the same thing. He was an amazing individual. He is still an amazing individual because he is still here, because he lives in all of our memories, and he's right here. So we're gonna do this little tribute to him. There's a bunch of poets in this room that are also related to me, and I am really glad to be amongst y'all, and I'm glad that you're all here. I don't have a poem that I wrote, but I would like to read this poem for Mack just to start out the evening. This is called When Great Trees Fall by Maya Angelou. When great trees fall, rocks on distant hills shudder, lions hunker down in tall grasses, and even elephants lumber after safety. When great trees fall in forests, small things recoil in silence, their senses eroded beyond fear. When great souls die, the air around us becomes light, stale, sterile, rare. We breathe briefly. Our eyes briefly see with a hurtful clarity. Our memory, suddenly sharpened, examines, gnaws on kind words unsaid, promised walks never taken. Great souls die, and our reality, bound to them, takes leave of us. Our souls, dependent upon their nurture, now shrink, wizened. Our minds, formed and informed by their radiance, fall away. We are not so much maddened as reduced to the unutterable ignorance of dark, cold caves. And when great souls die, after a period, peace blooms, slowly and always irregularly. Spaces fill with a kind of soothing electric vibration. Our senses restored, never to be the same, whisper to us. They existed. They existed. We can be and be better, for they existed. And Macdennis was a great soul, and I feel like I can be better because he existed. So with that, I'd like to bring up our first reader and friend of Mack and family member. She is one of the original producers of the Oakland Poetry Slam, which Macdennis was on the Oakland Poetry Slam team. And he, our family, and belonged to us. So please welcome up Sonia Whittle.
Greetings, everyone. It's an honor to be here today to celebrate the life of our Macdennis. What a glorious life he's lived. One that I think many of us would wish for. One that seems like it was just filled with freedom and excitement, so many experiences. And when he came into our life, he had already lived for a season of which most don't get to experience. And he continued for 20 more years in our life to read poetry and just to be a beacon, a guiding light for how we could live in our, I guess, in our freeness, you know. So anyway, just the honor. And so I'm going to read today one of Mack's poem, Old Vacherie Road. A week after graduating from high school, my grandmother handed me a job announcement. It read, "Farm hands wanted for 27 cents an hour, and pick up your paycheck at the Waggus Pack store." But Mom, I said to my old dark-skinned gray-headed grandmother, that's slavery. Besides, I'm a high school graduate. She squinted at me through them small, smoky black eyes and said, listen to me, nigger boy. When I was a baby, your mama didn't want you, and your daddy came to see you one time. And because he got mud on his shoes, he said he wasn't coming back to the old Vacherie Road no more. I've been having you since the day you was born. So get them big city grin off your face and go sweat in them fields for me like I've been sweating for you. We even rode to the job site like slaves. Bunch of us, black men and black women, and a few drawn wooden wagons driven by a snaggle-tooted, instigating white man. He waxed two big mules with one crack of his whip. He say, ain't no trees to shade the sun out yet, schoolboy. Just acres and acres of manicured hot dirt and grassy green ditches. He said, look way over yonder where that tractor blowing up dust. That's where you gonna be planting sugar cane today. So you can go back and tell your old granny y'all sweat gonna be hot enough to boil eggs. The farmer was still insistent on calling them farms where we worked, but we still called them slave fields. The boss man was still a white man, and even though he wouldn't shoot you if you ran, them guns boss man carried on the back window of his pickup truck still made me nervous, because I know I made him nervous by always saying, I'm a high school graduate. I sweat 2 years for Mom before she said it was okay for me to go to New Orleans and get myself a diploma job. As I passed the sweltering fields, I looked out and saw folks switched over pulling Johnson grass out of knee-high green stalks of sugarcane. I was looking for familiar faces, but all I saw was ass and elbow for 27 cents an hour and pick up your paycheck at the Waggis Pack store. By Macdennis. Farewell, brother. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonia. That was awesome. I
Neat,
love
Sonia.
that. That's one of my favorite Macdennis poems.
Yes. I think we love that one. I think I could probably hear you all saying some of the words with me.
Yes.
I'm a high school graduate.
Thank you so much, Sonia. That was awesome. All right. I've known all of you half my life. That's crazy. Because it's been kind of a long life at this point. That's crazy. Kids and stuff. Everybody grown. Got silver in your hair. I see y'all. We still out here. This next reader was one of my very first friends in Slam. I remember sometimes I'd go to Slam and it'd be me and him and James Cagney. Just at the Slam trying to do it. And here we are now. It's another of my kinfolk. Our next reader is Sean William.
Wow. I mean, this is an honor just for all of us being here. I'm seeing so many faces. Hopefully you guys can hear me. I don't have a poem. I just want to just speak from the heart. And just
You muted.
For the people who are looking, there are generations. So you're talking about 3 or 4 generations of poetry slam. So you're talking about the person, the beautiful woman before me, Sonia. So just one of the originals, her with Nisa. That's how I came into the game, going to the Mambo and seeing Yados. And matter of fact, just even go here. Roxanne Hannah Ware, I was starting to do some poetry at Dorsey's Locker. Roxanne Hannah Ware told me, you're getting too big-headed for yourself, so I need to take you somewhere. I had 3 poems and you couldn't tell me anything. I thought I was just the man. So they took me to Mambo, and Sonia and Nisa were the host. And the feature for the evening was Talam AC, who will be singing. So that was wild. They put me on the open mic and I went first. I did my own one of 3 poems. I rocked. After that, Gatos comes, doing Coltrane. That rocks. So I was like, oh, so I'm not going to be the dopest poet in the room. After that, Bamuti follows and goes, or excuse me, he was Seeking at the time, and he does Conjuring Cassius Clay. So I'm like, oh, I'm really not the dopest poet of the evening. And then right after that, they go to the feature with Talam. So I got no phone numbers, had to pick up my face and learn that there's way more in the spoken word. So just seeing all these individuals, Gia, who I remember the cracking the knuckles under the water, just the descriptions of how these individuals, these dope poets, were able to create these poems. And now we're here celebrating the life of Macdennis, just this beautiful, wonderful individual and awesome storytellers. We talk about Andre 3000, Biggie, Slick Rick, these individuals who could put words together. Nobody can tell a story like Macdennis taught me how to tell stories within spoken word. Raise the Window Down, Helen, talking about the scraper. You know, I didn't know over there was over there, over like all those things that Macdennis instilled. He's still gonna be always with us. He's still a staple. When I think of him, I think of the New Orleans syrup draw that came off. And when I think of New Orleans, then it makes me think of Mona. Just so many people are here that I got so much love for. So I thank the Oakland Slam, all the generations that made it together, especially this new generation that is keeping us people with the silver hair and the gray hair in our beards just to continue on loving you guys. I called you guys and asked if you could take care of it. You guys got back to me so quick, and we appreciate it. It's all for the love of Macdennis, a great spoken word artist, and more importantly, off the microphone, he was a great individual. There are so many dope people on the mic, but off the mic, he was a great individual. And I am blessed to be able to say that I've met him, broke bread with him, laughed with him, good and bad times, and back to good with him. So we love you, Mack. We love you, Nisa. We love you, Nazelah, Sonia. This makes me think of Avacha, makes me think of Kenyatta, just all the individuals, Tarita, all the ones that, you know, we haven't been able to just normally bump into. All our elders and us being elders now, thank you very much. And again, we love you, Macdennis. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Sean.
That was awesome. Awesome memory lane. I love
Memories
y'all.
brought back. Oh my God, the poems, the people.
I know. I know. Right on. So our next reader I haven't seen in way too long. And I remember her as the poet Soul's Journey and being absolutely amazing. And then she left us so she could, like, I don't know, go earn degrees and have kids and stuff. I suppose all that's important, but I'm glad you back. I'm really, really glad you here. Please welcome Danielle Drake.
Thank you so much for creating this space to honor Macdennis. It is so wonderful to see so many of the faces that just like bring back all the memories. Sean, you did your thing just now. I was like, oh yeah. So it's just, man, I can't even imagine not showing up today because Mack showed up for every single one of us. The thing that I love about Macdennis was that he was the same no matter what, no matter where, no matter who. You know, I feel like if the phrase cool as a fan could be personified, it was him. Like, it didn't matter. He was so easygoing about everything and would give you a ride to, like, you know, Sacramento if you needed. It didn't matter, like on a dime, on a whim, you know? So I'm so excited to be able to share one of his poems, Freedom, with you all, because that was one of my favorite poems. And I actually took this piece with me. I asked for his permission, and I actually read this poem at least once a year to my students. every year in a class that I teach called narrative therapy. So yeah, I'm just super excited for the legacy that he has left us, and just intend to, carry it forward all the time. So here it is, Freedom by Macdennis. I actually have the slam going on in my house, apparently. I was like, y'all, shh. I'm getting shushed. I'm shushing people like I used to get shushed. So anyway, here we go. Freedom by Macdennis. It was bad times. Wrecked my car, girlfriends gone, 2 heart arteries blown, and I wasn't thinking about writing no goddamn poem. Checked my closet and all my clothes had been to jail. London fog, drawers, neckties had all taken police car rides. My black leather jacket with slacks to match was just back from a stay at the Pokey in San Jose. A blue serge suit had sat on a bench and ate a cold burrito in Santa Rita. Checker bell bottom spent a weekend doing the bump with the gay boys at the Hall of Justice in San Francisco. And a plaid shirt did time under a different name in the Richmond can. All my caps had been in slammers. All my belts drunk and confiscated. All my shoes had stepped in a cage with just a shitter, a bunk bed, and a crackhead. And the furthest thing from my mind was poetry. Then I had another wreck. 2 more girlfriends left, and the hurt under my 49er shirt had a double bypass. And out with the blood from my heart emerged a poet. Then I wrote a goddamn poem. Then I poetry slammed the motherfucker. Checked my closet tonight and all my clothes had been in shows. Khakis, corduroys, cutoffs, Kangos had all spit in spoken word shows. My black turtleneck was stained with armpit sweat from a poetry set at the Jazz Fest in New Orleans, Louisiana. Next to that was a camel color V-neck sweat set that featured at the Van Slam in Vancouver, Canada. Tie-dye dashiki with a hat to match Rock the Rockies and the cocktail glasses at the Mercury Cafe in Denver. And a navy blue blazer spent a weekend doing the bump with the CU Buffaloes in Boulder. All my shoes had stepped on a stage with just a mic, my spoken words, my rags, and my life. All my caps had worn a slam. All my belts been tipsy but free since I started writing poetry. Ashe.
Woo!
Oh,
I slammed the motherfucker.
oh my God.
Yes.
That was good.
Ashe.
All my clothes have been in shows.
All the clothes.
Ah,
Wow. So many
That's the
memories.
history. And the
I'm
history
so
that of
happy.
life that we, if you listen to his poems, and it's, we just can follow Mack's life and see all the
Oh,
places
yeah,
he's
man.
been and the things he's done.
Right. All the places he was loved. I mean, the first time I ever went to a MPS, I had no idea what I was in for. But I'm going to tell you this, the minute we got to where I think we were in Minneapolis, I mean, people were like, Macdennis, from like every team all over the country. Like he was literally like the most beloved like slam member in the entire community. And I was just like, okay, I love it here. Plus he introduced me to the haiku battle. So
Yeah, man. That cat was special. I mean, he has the distinctive honor of sounding like one of my country uncles who I love from Mississippi. You hear that voice across the room, that accent, that swag. I remember when Mack, when the first time when he started coming around, I mean, just, it was so easy to respect that dude. You can tell he's seen some things. You can tell that he wanted to teach us some things and we should listen. And I'm glad I was able to be a part of this, man. Sit here with all you guys, looking at all these faces, and man, it's Lucky Seven. Talam, Sean. I mean, this is beautiful, y'all. I'm serious, man. It was one of the best times of my life. I remember when we didn't know Talon was coming to town, he'll just pop up. You like, oh, Talon was in the house tonight, yo, he about to come in and rock this. And it was literally, man, one of the best times of my life, just seeing people. You can be sitting right next to somebody and their name get called and they go up and literally blow your mind. They was just sitting right next to you, just talking about anything. They come off the stage and you look at them like, man, wait a minute, bro. And quick story, I remember the first time I saw Sonia perform, and I had one poem, man. I was going through with my wife, and Sonia and Daria had a poem they used to do. I know I wasn't supposed to speak now. I just want to say something quick. And it was the dopest thing I had ever seen. Like, I've never seen people, they had a short poem that they did together. And I had one poem in my hand written on loose leaf, and I saw them do their thing, the back and forth, the singing with the poetry. And it moved me so much that I just wanted to be like that. You know, I wanted to be in that energy. I wanted to be that confident in my delivery. And Sonia and I kind of inherited that poetry event at Du Soleil's, right, Son? From a cat who thought he was gonna make a lot of money off poetry. He realized that poetry didn't pay. Poets didn't drink, they drink tea, and they brought their own tea in little mugs and stuff. So he gave it up and gave it to us. And but that grew everything, man. We had a lot of adversity. And I just wanted to jump in and just say thank y'all, man, for contributing to my life, to my words. And I love all of y'all. Really appreciate all of y'all, man, for being here. So I'm gonna shut up now. I just had to say that. Thank y'all for doing this, bro. For real. Peace.
Thank you, Los. Thank you for being here. Definitely a room full of family. Our next performer is from where Mack is from, and used to actually run the San Francisco Poetry Slam. God, that was a long time ago. Not that we're old, because we all young people up in here, but also a close member of my family, Miss Mona Webb.
Ashe. So grateful to be in the room with everybody, and grateful to be able to be in this place of gratitude together. I have a piece that I wrote after Katrina, when I first moved to the Bay, that Mack performed in, called New Orleans Anonymous. I know Macdennis since I was 19 years old. I am now 41. I knew Mack before I got here to California. Mack actually helped me move to California. Mack helped me get my first job, my first scraper. Was a scraper in that poem. I bought the Blue Genie after that. And yeah, I can't say enough extraordinary. Like, there's so many pivotal moments that contributed to who I was allowed to become. And I really needed someone to show me the way, coming out of Louisiana, out of the deep South, in the way things were there versus how things are here. And Mack took the time to take me around, to introduce me to people, and help me get on lists that when I didn't have a name to call on. And there's just so many things that were just every day, from eating to moving in the world, gigging and writing and performing. And the greatest gift ever is the family that I've become a part of here in the Bay. And, you know, y'all got the last 20 years right here. So I just more than filled with gratitude to be in the space and to hold on to the legacy of Louisiana and San Francisco Slam. And I'm going to share this piece. This was Mack's part of this show. He played a character called Old New Orleans. And in this piece, Old New Orleans and New New Orleans, the idea of them were characters who spit poems on stage. And so this was Mack. Found my soul, I found my soul. 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 Found my soul in the middle, way down deep. Sound my soul in the middle, way down deep. There are loose boards where the floor used to be, but I am built from sweat and tears, dreams made flesh and swamp mud, lover of the weeping willow. I know your secrets, your taste for exhibitionism, my arms open wide with welcome. Branches of time that carry the whole story. They have been weighed down with lynchings and tire swings. My eyes are full of Mardi Gras and second lines. Katrina may have sucked the pulp from my veins, but the Mississippi River still cradles my resistance to death. I am the Big Easy. I am old New Orleans. I am tradition and hoodoo, gumbo and Creole cooking. You can't buy who I am. And when God smiles, the twinkle in her eye is me, seed of her apple. I am history and a way of life that can be sold for a weekend, but never taken home. I am steadfast steel and copper. You think you can move me, motherfucker? Then bring it on. Bring it on, motherfuckers. Bring it on. Thank you for listening to that. Actually made my heart happy to read it.
Ooh. Thank you.
Thank you, Mona. Thank you for being here.
I shall. I wanted
just
to
got muted. Thank you, Mona, for being here. Thank you all for being here. So our next reader, our next family member that's coming up, I have known for 20 years. I swear I've known everybody in this room like 15, 20 years. And that still does not make me old, but that makes us hella close. And I coached her on the Oakland Poetry Slam team. So a couple of times, a couple of times. Our next reader is Seven Kelly.
Hey y'all, how y'all doing? Oh man, I have like a story, and it's like one of those Macdennis stories. So give me a second. So Macdennis is the man. Macdennis was the I got your back. I got your back. And I was on unemployment quite a bit, and he was like, "Okay, this is how we gonna help you, right?" He's like, "Listen to me. You use this, and do this, and you'll get some extra." I was like, "All right." So I got extra, and it was just a simple applying my address to somewhere else, right? Just something simple, right? And you get extra. And he was like, "You can do this. You really can. As a writer, you got this, Seven." All right. So I would ride with Macdennis every Tuesday to go to Harborside to go get the discount on the cannabis discount for the seniors, right? So we would go every Tuesday. And to some Tuesdays, I didn't have no money because I was just going. I was just going to just go see, just to go ride with Macdennis somewhere, just to go be with him, because I was missing my own father. And he's the same age as my mom. So Macdennis is the same age as my mom, okay? They're the same age, same year. So this is like my dad for all intents and purposes. So I've always seen Macdennis as a really big, for me, father figure in how he like treated me and held space for me, right? So one Tuesday, for some reason, his phone was in the car. And I don't know how. Oh, something popped up. And you know how like the last missed call would show. And I was the last missed call. So I looked and I was like, oh wow. Every time Macdennis saw me, he would say 7. That's how he called me. That's me, right? And so I saw how he spelled my name. And if you look at my screen, you see it spelled Sevan. Yes. So Macdennis from Louisiana. My mom and my dad both Louisiana natives. Like I'm a first generation Californian. So I was the first one born here in California, Louisiana. So I'm connected to Macdennis in a whole nother like scope for me. Right. So I said all that to say that he feminized my name and he saw me as the woman I am. Through all that I am, he saw me as, and he gave me what would be the spelling of a girl named Seven, as I am a woman named Seven, right? So Sevan. And I don't know, I know that he's seen it, and I don't know if it ever connected that was him that did that. But the story of my name, part of my name is because Macdennis spelled it that way. And it's because I saw how he spelled my name, and it just like it resonated because it helped me like come to peace in a way of being like a whole person as Seven, not just Lucky Seven. So that's my Macdennis story. And it is because of Macdennis that I spell my name Sevan. And I just want like everybody to know it. Like I want everybody to know that that's how he will always live with me.
Thank you, Seven. Right on.
That's beautiful.
All right. So we have a room full of people that love Macdennis. And actually, we have a world full of people that love Macdennis. All of them don't have the Zoom link, though. So we just have a room right now full of people who love Macdennis. And the next poet coming up to read, Mac, love you. We love you too. And Mac showed it, love you, and Dre and y'all craziness. So here's another family member, y'all. This a brother from another mother and father and whole ass entire family. Our next reader is Patrick Osland.
Thank you, Naz. Thank you, everyone, for being here. So good to see so many people I haven't seen in so long. Poetry same and the same when it's not in person. When I was coming up in the scene, Nas and Seven were quick to kind of take me under their wing, and they're like, man, we got to show this hippie white boy some shit, because he doesn't quite understand what this thing we're doing here is, because I was freestyling poems in my worst Jim Morrison-esque kind of sound, and they were like, no, man, no. And then by about the time I got one piece ready that people were like, okay, I see what you're doing here, I got put into this show called The Men's Story Project that Mack was also in. And that was when I got to know Mack better, because we had lots of rehearsals for that. And just to see someone who had such little, like, he just wasn't trying to do anything. He was just being himself, like so hard. Like it was so effortless. You know, his stories, his poems were just a picture from Macdennis's life. You know, I mean, I'm sure he edited and wrote them multiple drafts, but it sounded like it was just so straight from the heart and just so freed up and powerful. And I didn't know it could be that way, you know, that you could do storytelling and poetry so much is the same thing like that. And, you know, as I started performing more in the scene then, I would just talk with Mac after the show. And like, you know, one of my friends said, like, the real show begins when the show is over and you're talking to people on the street after the show. Like, that's the real show. And that's where, like, you know, Mac was just would shine. I mean, on the stage also, but afterwards, because he wasn't any different on the stage or on the street. Talking afterwards, same Mac, 100%. And just such a powerful, beautiful soul that I know, like everyone's been saying, is not going anywhere and is staying with all of us. And when I got this hat, I got it a little while ago, and I was like, this hat is in honor of Mack, because I know his Freedom poem was one of the first ones I heard about all the clothes that have been all the places now. So I'm going to read a story poem of Mack's called Mr. Cab that I have been reading to anyone who will listen. Ever since I found out about his passing, I was like, you don't know who Macdennis was, maybe, but you got to hear this. So I love this one. I think the way he weaves things together in it is just so amazing to me. Here it goes. I was driving taxi in San Francisco the year they outlawed the water in California. Wash your car, go to jail. Water that lawn, you don't get bail. Radio jingles joked. But that wasn't funny to the leftover flower children who were drying up on the Haight Street sidewalks. It hadn't rained in so long, the Skid Row rats were drinking from puddles of wino piss. The Citizens of Belief, a Bay Area group who trusted the supernatural powers, hired a rain-dancing American Indian. But somehow, through no fault of his own, so he said, his steps were interpreted by the fog of God, and the fog disappeared. God, let it goddamn rain, I prayed while waiting for fare on Ocean Beach. The drought was killing the taxi business too, but I wasn't your basic frowning taxi driver. While most cabbies gripe on slow nights, I'd just say more than one way to skin a cat. And I was in my 13th year of taxi turning around the city. I thought about my saying and realized that I hadn't even asked God politely for the rain. So I went at it another way. I said, Lord, I don't need the water, but please let it rain on the tattered and thirsty leftover flower children. Then I faced the sundown and said, Lord, if you're really working on my soul, show me a sign. And way out where the ocean doused the sun, billows of black stuff came out the water. By the time I dropped off downtown, that black stuff was floating towards the city like smoke from an ocean of crude on fire. Taxi business got busier than diarrhea shit. I was picking them up and laying them down all over that Humpty Bumpty town. As luck would have it, I got an airport. It was like holiday rush at SFO2. As I pulled to the taxi stand, I saw trouble in the person of a short African black-skinned dude in a white tuxedo. A receding hairline across his long head made him look like he had too much face. Man, that forever face motherfucker gonna go jump in my cab, I said to myself. Now, it wasn't because blood was black that caused me to be leery. It was an extra sense cabbies develop at times. It's called how to spot them. Armed robbers, fare runners, drunks who throw up on your back seat, and assholes. Take me to hate. Go straight because I can't be late. I knew I made asshole right when he said that. He sat in the middle of my back seat and boasted of being a New York City wizard, and a bold one at that. He'd been flown by the Citizens of Belief and was going to pay him $1,000 if he could make it rain. As I passed Candlestick Park, I plotted up the AM band and drowned out the Mr. Magic Mouth with Giants fans screaming, beat LA. The wizard reached between my bucket seats and changed my station. He didn't ask. He just stuck his stubby fingers on the button and I slapped dirt from under those nails. But like I said, the man was bold. And soon we hit Hospital Curve on 101. I had to sock him again. This time, it was a short, back-fisted right on his thick, twisted lips as he tried to adjust my rearview mirror so he could admire his long, high face. My backhand knuckles might have got his attention, because as the next words out of his mouth made more sense. Is that cloud or fog over the city? I took him to the Greyhound bus station to watch the blood out of his teeth. My attention went back to the elements as I waited for him. That black stuff was moving over the city swift like a hurricane cloud crossing Louisiana, and the wind was pushing homeless people off the sidewalks. The taxi door slammed, and I left rubber burning under the nose of a neon-lit Greyhound dog hanging above the station's door. I had enough of that, wizard. My mouth started a carnival tune that my mind had been humming. Mardi Gras Mambo, Mambo, Mardi Gras Mambo down in New Orleans. All right, where you from, mate? I stepped on the brake and looked at the face of a red-haired Aussie dude in my rearview mirror. In a haste to fix his face, the wizard had left the door open, and unknown to me, this big, tipsy Australian fellow took his cab. I explained my dilemma, and the Aussie said, all right, forget that asshole, mate. He proposed that I go straight to Citizens of Belief function at the Cafe International, and that I pose as the wizard. What about the rain, I asked. Oh, what do you think that black stuff is floating up over there? I stuck my nose out the window and smelled the fresh rain. I smiled. We hadn't seen rain clouds in so long, I forgot how they looked. Then my flag went down when the Aussie eased beer breath into my ear and whispered, more than one way to skin a kangaroo, mate. The Citizens of Belief is honored to present the mystical New York City Wizard. Standing in front of the mic scared the blood in my heart. To keep from pissing on myself, I focused on a cool pitcher of water sitting on the cafe counter. The only words I could force were, "We got water." A few people from the Citizens of Belief said they saw sparks coming out from my mouth when I said that. And I don't know about all that. All I know for sure is raindrops big enough to put out a campfire started falling. It rained so much, Haight Street flooded and the leftover flower children came floating past the Cafe International. They were waving and smiled at me through the big picture window. I didn't have to say another word. I just stood there listening to the rain with $1,000 bills in my hand. Thank you, Mac.
Thank you, Patrick. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Right on.
Thanks for having me.
Wow. Okay, then. So Gia is on deck. I said on deck. It's a slam thing. I actually said it. I didn't plan that. That just came out. But anyway, now you're ready. So our next reader coming to the mic is coming to the mic. He is ready. And he is also a family member. Please welcome Donnie Rose up to this mic.
Peace, peace. Good evening, everyone. This is quite the occasion to be coming together. My sister Mona Webb called me earlier and asked me if I would join in to this event. And I was like, absolutely. So for those of you all who do not know me, I started performing in Baton Rouge a little over 20 years ago. My family / mentors were Mona Webb, Zero Skidmore. They brought me into the game. Very early on, I saw poets like Talam Acey visit Baton Rouge, poets like Lamar Hill, poets like Mark Marcel, lots of legendary spoken word poets. But I remember the first time I saw Macdennis and Kenyatta come to the Baton Rouge area. And it felt like I was like experiencing, I don't know, a real life example of the last poets. Because they were, some elder cats, but they were super cool, had impeccable swag, like they were like players, you know what I mean? And I was like, when I grow up, and then grow up again, and then grow up again after that, I want to be Macdennis and or Kenyatta. And in the best world, both of them at the same time. I didn't have as deep of a relationship with Mac as many of the people here, but I definitely enjoyed sitting in the audience as just a listener, soaking up his wisdom, soaking up his poetic prowess. He always gave me a good word. And he was always an elder poet that I sought to impress. For me, as I said, coming up watching certain people, it was always a matter of, if I can grab the ear of these poets, then I know I may be on to something. And Macdennis was absolutely one of those people. And so I appreciate Mona for bringing Mac into our sphere in Baton Rouge. I'm now a resident of Maryland, but all these years later, just thinking about who Mac was to our scene in Baton Rouge and how, just inspirational he was to younger poets like myself at the time. I cannot say that any of us who were coming along in that era would have morphed into whatever we became if it wasn't for poets like Mac and Kenyatta and Talam and others who came through and showed us like this is beyond just what we know it to be in our little town of Baton Rouge, that this is a universal art form. So with that being said, I have two very small, tiny poems because I don't slam anymore, and thus my poems are nowhere near 3 minutes. They may be like 30 seconds-ish. So I'm gonna get through this and get out y'all way. The first poem begins with an excerpt from a gospel song. I'm going to put on my robe, tell the story, how I made it over soon as I get home. 1, what I know of Black folks becoming ghosts is and always is a freeing, a disrobing of a body split at its seams from the wear and tear of living as a hand-me-down. 2, there is no freedom equal to a Black homegoing, where the mourners or a chorus of shout and wail, a half shattered, half hallelujah binary of fallen tears, rejoicing in the prospect of a morning joy, custom designed for a vessel that outgrew the troubles of this old world, while also grieving the departure necessary, the goodbye required to fit the ghost for their regalia. And here's my other little poem. And I think this is something that Mack would like us to take into consideration. Once upon a time, someone you loved also loved and spoke and thought and laughed and consumed and strived and grieved and celebrated and labored and hugged and won and lost and lost and lost and struggled and imagined and earned and believed and educated and regretted and gifted themselves to an undeserving earth and are now repurposed as the soil you walk on. And what a privilege it is to carry out their expectations for you to continue. Thanks.
Thank you, Donnie.
Ashe, thank you, Donnie.
Thank you.
That was a beautiful tribute to Macdennis. Wow, this is such a lovely evening. And I think that Mack would really enjoy all of this. And I'm glad that we did this. So our next reader is my dear friend. We were roomies for like 8 years in Oakland. And also, I don't know, I'm sure that they remember, but they were on the very first slam team I ever coached, along with Macdennis. And also Message One. And it was an awesome team to coach for my first time, because most teams you have to actually coach. But at the beginning, when I asked everybody, what y'all want to do? Y'all want to party or y'all want to win? They were just like, we want to party. So we didn't rehearse. They just came over to my house and drank beer and we hung out. And then we went to nationals and made semis anyway. So that's how we roll.
With the flyest matching shirts.
Oh my God.
The best time with the best merch and just, yeah, it was
so chill. It was the party team and we just walked around like smacking fools effortlessly.
We walked around doing this over and over again. This is all we did. We just walked
it was
around.
my favorite.
Which year was this?
2005.
2005.
And so without further ado, it's my love, my sister. It's Gia Kagan Trenchard.
With a G.
With a G.
With a G. Gia with a G.
Yeah, I'm just gonna do like Sean. I'm just gonna say some stuff and be kind of drunk and emotional and just kind of just let it go. Cause yeah, with a G, I'm so grateful to be here, y'all.
No doubt, no doubt.
Like I'm very particularly struck in this moment. Yeah, what an incredible route. Like the time. So much of those spaces that I shared with Mack that I shared with all of you. You know, it's such a wonderful gift to be here, all of us together, after so many incarnations. And I don't know, I know I feel like people do not totally understand me if they don't have a sense of like the space that we shared together. You know what I mean? They don't deeply get you if they haven't been with you in like some of those. Macdennis was the first poetry feature I ever saw. I saw him at Baka Talk in San Jose that Vadim Lidvack was hosting. And it was Macdennis, Cass King, and Misspelt. And it was the first time I ever saw the thing that we do, right? Like, it was the first time that I saw a set of like some poems. And when I saw him do the thing, I was like, well, that's clearly what I've been supposed to do. And I'm gonna dedicate myself to this now. And I'm just gonna go to the San Jose Slam on Tuesday, and then I'm gonna go to the Berkeley Slam on Wednesday. I'm gonna go to the Oakland Slam on Thursday, and I'm gonna Justice League every second Sunday. And every moment that I'm not doing that, I'm gonna be like rehearsing poems, or like hanging out with people, or like sitting around the cafe, or like walking around like Merritt, and just like reading the poems over and over again. I'm gonna get the slam really, really early. Just gonna pace around outside with everyone and just read it over and over and over and over and over again. And it just, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for Mack. I'm so grateful for the first tour I ever went on with Vadim in San Jose, we drove to fucking Providence National Poetry Slam in a van with 5 of us. It was a lot of people in a small area. And I learned so much from him. And I'm so immensely, incredibly grateful for it. Emily says hello and sends her love to all of you and is so sorry she can't be here. But there's a thing that she said when she gave the eulogy for her grandmother about how her grandmother cheated 1,000 deaths to get the one that she got. Her grandmother had a whole, lived through the Holocaust, all kinds of craziness. And I was really thinking about that with Mack when I just heard that it was peaceful and it was beautiful and he was surrounded by people who loved him. And I'm so inspired and so forever grateful that I ever got to be anywhere near like a true living saint, right? Like one of those like really like ethereal people. That was pretty much all I wanted to say. It's no poem to read. Just wanted to gush at y'all. Just fucking love y'all.
Awesome.
I've been requested to unmute myself. Thank you, Gia. That was awesome.
Thank you, Gia.
Wow. Okay. So our next reader, I've also known for decades. And he's my brother in hip hop and close family and a friend of all the Bay Area. And he's here, and I'm so glad. It's Billy Tuggle.
Thank you, Naz. What's up, everybody? Hope y'all can hear me okay. I never know which is harder is along this path that I've been on with most of y'all for the better part of 25 years at this point. There was a point where there's faces on the screen when I was looking up at them like titans. And then at some point when I felt like I was standing shoulder to shoulder with them, I felt like I started losing them. And so that makes me very grateful at all times when we can and cannot gather in these virtual spaces as well as real spaces. So even at this occasion, I'm very happy to see you all. For those that aren't aware, the Bay Area has been a second home to me for performance poetry and spoken word since the early 2000s. I have the privilege of being the most booked out-of-town poet in the Berkeley Slam, in the history of the Berkeley Slam. And also I've featured at Oakland at least half a dozen times. And even when I'm in town, any one of y'all's spaces, y'all been like, oh, we've always got space for you on the mic. And every single soul is super welcoming. And how that extends beyond the Bay. I'm from Chicago. I'm from the South Side of Chicago. And I always tell people that Oakland And the south and west sides of Chicago are suburbs of the South. And if you've ever spent any time on the south side or the west side of Chicago with Black people in Chicago, you understand exactly what I'm talking about. So to be greeted in the ways that my New Orleanian family, my Louisianian family greet me, from Mona at the San Francisco Slam with food, come on, to Mack with always a big hug, an encouraging word and advice. It's always a thing to look forward to, well beyond doing things like getting on stages, well beyond all of those things, There's an oft quoted African proverb that says, when an elder dies, a library burns to the ground. And when we lose our elders, our libraries, our favorite books, we're all mourning, we're all grieving. So I will leave you with this piece that I wrote a few years ago after my brother passed. It is after The Fidelity of Epitaphs by Marty McConnell. This is titled What They Don't Tell You. What they don't tell you is, even as the deluge feels like it's subsiding, the wind throws your healing aside, brings flood to your doorstep, to your basement of memories, drowns your garden beds. What they don't tell you, you will witness breakdown. Theirs in a room scented in sterility and finality, your own on the journey, on the way to say, I honor you. What they don't tell you is that you can feel it before the last lights go out, that it will not be policed even by self, that every memory is a brick in a twisting path that you pray, you hope, you reason, you unreason. What no one tells you about the grief is that it has no edges. How hard is it to see a horizon? No road signs, creaking bridges, same shitty drainage you notice as you seek shelter from a new downpour. An abandoned house filled with old games and paintings and conversations. But in that old building, you sit and feel cool air and mist through a broken window. You will find small sanctuary, reclaim heartbeat. You will accept quiet over peace long enough to feel their ubiquity. And this is why you don't sleep. You hold vigil for sunrise. Thank you all.
Thank you, Billy. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
All right.
Yes.
So again, if you actually would like to speak or say something, as we're getting to the end, just PM me, DM me, M me, and I'll put you on. But our next speaker, I've known half my life, which is entirely too long, and I haven't seen in a few years, but I'm really glad to see you. And we miss you in the Bay Area. You never call, you never write, but we glad you're here right now. And it is Talame C.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
You can hear me? Okay. I'm going to try to keep it brief. I could actually go through everyone that's on this in this room and say something beautiful about everyone, but time wouldn't permit for that. It's beautiful to see everyone. It's been a long time. The poem that Danielle did is the poem that I most associate with Mack. Like, you could say a line from that poem and I would know exactly the poem. I would know exactly who wrote it. Like, nobody could take a line from that poem and I not know that that was Mack. I spent a lot of time with him. I could talk about him, which I won't, of course, but I could talk about him at length. I could talk about like how hard he partied. I could talk about things that, I could separate it to things that I can't even say, in mixed company, things that he did that I just was like, can you do that? And I can also, I spent a lot of time with him in the Bay. I stayed with Mack sometimes. I'd stay at his house. He would, like I said, he would do things that would blow my mind, you know, as an older gentleman. I stayed with him in New Orleans as well. And when I stayed with him in New Orleans, he had his son living with him and his grandson living with him. And he had bought like a truck, you know, to pull 18 wheelers. And he was using it as a family business. And as someone who came from not really having a father or a father figure, it would really move me that he had his son living with him, that he had his grandson living with him, and that he had found a means for all of them to make money together. It's crazy because sometimes he would look at things that I did, because, you know, I had my own little party hard type things, and he would be amazed. And I would be amazed that he was amazed, because I knew the stuff that, you know, the kind of things that he would do. And earlier we were talking about, when he was talking about a poem, we were talking about prisons. He was also the only person I knew that had been to Angola prison, which is, you know, one of the most legendary prison experiences you could have in America. You know, and he'd been there. You know, you have to work the fields like a sharecropper in that prison. I could go on at length about things, about him waking up in the morning, you know, 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning, seeing me sitting on his couch, you know, with a bottle and a glass, and he's like, "How could you do that?" And I'm thinking, "Well, how could you do half the things you do?" You know, so it was really hilarious to me. I'll do a quick piece in the interest of time and just wrap it up. Because like I said, I could talk about him at length. I will say one of the last questions I remember asking him was how he stayed so young, you know? And his answer was, well, it's these young ladies, you know what I mean? And it tripped me out that was his response, you know? Armstrong can't park on Congo Square now because they're there now. From Canal to the fairgrounds, this government doesn't repair towns, it tears down the self-concepts of the descendants of ex-slaves. While ex-FEMA Chief Brown still gets paid and George Bush waves from the skies, he flies by an Air Force One, gets as close to the sun as he can manage, and Barbara Bush whispers that the tragedy is working out to our advantage. But how do you assess the damage when neglected levees like the Lake Walk to the River Walk and talk is cheap, so I double up and repeat ex-FEMA Chief Brown was still getting paid? While the price of oil was rising with the tides and the children of ex-slaves still survive, and a wave crashes into the attic and there's automatics in the hands of juvenile soldiers that told you to back that ass up and keep bumping you against the wall before they march off to the cadence of "They the fools in the pimped out Gucci suits." That we have permission to shoot first, ask questions later, curfew at 9, bringing Cajun Moon and the crossfader. What do you say to people who have no home? Is it Astrodome or Superdome, or move in with a relative? But then that's relative. You have to move from NO to Alaska or Utah, and you saw how they feel about you on the nightly news. Ain't no place like home, so it's gotta be the shoes that moved us from evacuees to refugees. They might as well burn the body of King Oliver in effigy and do a second line to the Little Rascals of the rebirth of George Bush's legacy is fuck them niggas. And pass the blow, because after the show was that after party, and after the party, still ain't the priority that Iraq is. Bear witness. Energy company profits ain't never been this strong. I swear, the heads of the top 3 oil companies must have brought gifts to Bush's manger when he was born. That's that piece. Rest in peace, Macdennis.
Thank you, Talam. It's really good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Big up, fam.
Thank you, Talam. Good to see you.
No doubt,
Good
man.
to see you, Talam.
Good to see you, brother.
Yeah, so you can take by all these greetings, Talam. You need to be in touch more. Apparently, you don't be in touch enough because too many people miss you out here. So get on it.
I miss everyone too.
You don't miss us that much. You don't be getting in touch.
I saw Lucky 7. I guess the Lucky is gone. It's 7. I saw 7 and it just brought back so many memories. But to see everyone is so beautiful. I appreciate it.
Thank you. So we have a couple more people who wanted to express themselves. And so the next person that's going to come up and say awesome things about Mr. Macdennis is a friend of the Slam that all of y'all know, all of us know for years. And it is Lamont. What's up, Lamont?
What up, fam?
Hey, everybody. You know, y'all probably know my face from being around the slams and all the different poetry events that's been out. over the years. Many of y'all probably don't know that I do write poetry. Mack always wanted me to get on the stage. I will always tell Mack go somewhere else with that. But today, I wanted to make sure that I give those last words for him, which is a poem and a piece that I actually wrote at Macdennis' house, and it's called Black Sun because he was like a godfather to me. I remember going to New Orleans not too long ago. He took me to the second line. We got a chance to enjoy the second line, which was amazing. Even friends that I sent out there, he would pick them up and, show them towns and get some of that gator and stuff like that. So without going deeper into the emotional side, I just wanted to read this one piece called Black Sun. Neither I nor my father stood in a balanced stream of light. Though our skin periled in darkness, it ensured our earthly plight. Invisible against destruction, a mass of matter such as night. Continued in breath, through spirit, I embrace the sway of his might. A simple reflection I extend from root of his seed. For tomorrow I am Black Sun, for his ancestry I lead. And just a rest in peace to Macdennis.
Thank you, Lamont.
Wow, Lamont. Secrets you hold.
Thank you for
I
that.
know, holding out. You've been holding out for how many years? You just now saying something? Okay, Lamont, I see you.
Thank you for that, fam.
Right on. Thank you so much, Lamont. And so we have some words from one more person whom I love, who is my family member up in here, who we all know. It's the Oakland Slam's own. We ain't seen you in a while either. But it's Rupert Stanislaw.
Yay. Hey, Rupert.
Yo, what's up, Rup?
Hey, Carlos.
What up, man?
Yeah, it's been a long time. My son, the reason why I couldn't be on video. So, I don't have anything to read. It's been a really long time since I read any poems. Hold on. Okay. All right. It's been a really long time since I've read any poems or written anything. But I remember before, I think my last years of slam, I used to call up Mack, and we used to eat at Cam Hong Restaurant. It's a small Vietnamese place on 14th and Broadway back in Oakland when I used to work off 12th and Broadway. And he actually read me some first drafts of that poem about his pants and his clothes that had been in the homes. Okay. And I got to read him some of the poems that I would later on slam, and we would just have these like conversations in his car, share some enjoyment with each other, and during that time just share drafts of poems. And I really miss him. He was one of the first people I've ever seen in Vallejo from the Bay Area poetry here, and back then it was like 2000 or 1999. I was just this methed out Filipino punk rock kid from Vallejo, and there was Mack, and he was a legend. And every time I saw him in bigger cities like Oakland and SF and Cafe Mambo and the Justice League, he would always be there, and it was always so comforting to see him. So that's all I wanted to say. Hello, everybody.
Thank you, Rupert. I'm so glad you came. So I think that's kind of who we have, unless anyone else wants to say anything.
Nazelah, I'm here.
Oh, hi, Taz. Would you like to say something?
Yeah, I got a poem for Matt.
Okay, well, this is Taz, and he our slam friend.
Good
and
to
so
see you
Taz
all.
gonna say something.
All right, good to see you all, and just want to let you know that I had an incredible time at Southern Fried, the last one in New Orleans, and spent 2 weeks with Mack, and he took me to the old Vassary Road and took me to the plantations where he grew up, and just always will remember him. And I sensed he was starting to transform. I've been trying to contact him for the last couple of months. And just want to let you all know I'm going to revisit. Me and him did a cartoon strip called Francine. And basically, I'm going to revisit it and probably re-illustrate it and put it out for Mack. But I got this poem that I just wrote last few days to kind of process, my mourning for such an incredible poet. So here it goes. From the Dirty Dozen brass band to the continued talking to the second line, Delta Slide, Steel Grandstand, howling like a wolf. What this living brings as I speak a tribute to one of the greatest poets that I've ever known, who was raised in a Creole tone, picking cotton on a plantation down that Vacherie Road. Macdennis, NOLA, Second Sight, Mississippi River Bend, blow funkadelic with the starshine glow. You ever heard a poem from a true midnight black star child like Slide taking us higher in the Oakland towers, like Lucille's BB creature appearing as a guitar, taking our life's melody riffs where the wild things are? Where I'd be like the Mack man from Bourbon Street and Maple Leaf, where the Rebirth Brass Band takes the stage. And I can remember me and Mack standing there at 3:33 a.m., a poet in direct lineage to the funky bull roll blues, to the Delta poet Langston Hughes. As the direct tribute from my imagination is this artifact, because I'm taking us back to the days when me and Mack used to just roll away. He loved that California marijuana. Day to day, I will be stronger. I will take these and I will grow longer. And it is into the Most High. As I give a shout out to the Mack man with every syllable, every vowel, because this haiku that he used to render was the nastiest, dirtiest haiku I've ever heard. And he took every lesson I ever gave to him. So I talked to my dedication in full appreciation, the way you saw the shadow world, to the way you always rolled Louisiana sway and Bay Area legacy. It was the original California NOLA melody from one of the greatest poets, roots of any poet speaks, and on out to Macdennis, dedicated to the craft, when he said to me a poet too. From Delta Towers of power funky blues to Vacherie and the Langston Hughes, to bring us the first high school graduate in his family. As Mack never calculated the plantation world, he would always just tell me each moment, go all the way, limit to the distance. And every day you wake has dimensionals of depth and laughter and experience and travel to enrich that in yourself. Tell those stories of those broken steel blade glories. Tell them just like you're a Black Panther, more powerful than technology or electricity. No, it's all about the melody, the way a poet plays your instrument. You stand up bass soul to the trumpet spirit, the music at the bottom of the Super Bowl. And he always reminded us all poets are saints. And we at the core base and we're laced with original, genuine molasses resin, and we let it begin again and again. And we take the light. And we know that everything is just bruised in the deep, muddy waters, violet, indigo, sunset red, fields of opportunity to the California sunrise, in the belly jelly roll of mind memories and serenade of soul. You see, Mack always put the music in theaters in his poems. He entered the slam arena and slayed so many young poets, schooled them with ragtime jazz, speakeasy, and Louisiana banjo with a too short Oakland swag. Backwards, uptown, Oaktown, the taxi tenor saxophone. I will always remember how he never wrote down his poems. He told me his sight was bad. So he drove around the Oak Town in midnight, and he drove that cab thinking of each line, then adding another until the poem was written in his head. He always played the key of life like Stevie Wonder. And he always knew what was hip, down home classic skit. He had that one-man show, that run in Oakland. He etched the history of where he came from, to the plantation to the edge of the hill. But one thing I always remember, Mack never sat still. He always told the doctors, after 5 open heart surgeries, he said, I'm still grooving. I'm still moving. I got a pulse. And after I'm gone, I want all you poets to go out and shout and make that sound. You see, he bypassed his surgery because he spoke directly from his heart. He spit this poetry like it was his last breath. And he always told me, I love to dance, and I'm here to be walking and walking, walking. And I always remember how he's told me Fats Domino was from Vacherie, but he never represented Vacherie. He always told that lie, and he said he was from New Orleans. So the Mack Man, from here on out, every poem I speak, everything I say will be in the grand tradition of the Mack Man. This is the way. This is the way. Miss you, Matt. Thank you all for gathering. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Taz. That was amazing.
Yes,
Right
Taz.
on. That was so awesome. Thank
So
you.
beautiful. So beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, y'all, we about to wrap up this Mac party, but we have one more person that wants to speak. And we all know her. She come to all our slams. We know her probably almost as long as we know Mac. Yeah, so I'm just gonna introduce her. And she our family member too. Janoise.
Hey there. How's everybody? I'm in New Orleans.
Janoise.
I'm in New Orleans to pay my final respects. And Nas, thank you and thank all of y'all so very much. I mentioned it to Nas, and Nas just right with it. And all you guys, if y'all don't know, me and Mac had some kind of friendship nobody will never understand. But we were just always there for one another. And I appreciate y'all. Thank you so very much. Very, very much. Okay.
We love you, Janoise. All right, y'all.
I know you love Janoise.
Darlene, what's up, man?
So thank y'all for being here. Thank this room full of love for tribute to Macdennis.
Stop, boy.
So I have one thing. I wasn't going to do a poem at all, but I wanted to do this one poem because it was actually inspired by Macdennis. And you won't know the reference because you don't know the story, but there is an actual incident in this poem that I had with Macdennis. But I'm just going to do this poem. Mac is one of the people that made me love Oakland, and this is my ode to Oakland. Oakland is your cousin's kind of ghetto crackhead girlfriend, the one he cheats on all the others with in between violent breakups and smoldering makeups, the one who's your favorite, making you something to eat because y'all was both up at 3 a.m. because neither of y'all could sleep. Oakland offers you a hit off her pipe. You shake your head. She giggles. Baby, this just some weed. I'm about to take my ass to bed. You doze off on the love seat. Dreams filled with staccato gunshots and circle eights in side street intersections. Oakland doesn't mean to be a hoe. Existence has brought her down. That'll happen after a while around predominantly brown folks. She loves to kick it with big spenders and those who like to build. Her aspirations are Brooklyn size. Her suitors come and go. Your cousin doesn't care because half the time he doesn't know. Her glittering gold grin glinting off her tears like Lake Merritt in the sunshine, blinding everyone to her own loneliness and despair, finding love at the liquor store and a pack of top ramen and some cheap beer. Oakland will rip off her wig and snatch out her earrings just so she can have your back. What she lacks in table manners, she makes up for in leonine protection, still searching for her place in this world, still hoping for inexpensive affection. Oakland will pick your daughter up from jail where your ass sits arrested at 4 a.m. Oakland can't afford your bail, but she'll try her best to secure you a street loan and, well, she might have to sell all your shit while you're gone, but you'll forgive her. She'll soon be coming around the corner in your cousin's beat-up scraper, bringing blunts and smiles and hugs and all the other comforts of home. We love you, Macdennis, R.I.P. Thank y'all so much for all of this.
Sure, big up, everybody.
I said, thank you,
y'all, man, no doubt.
Bamu!
Nice
to see you.
Oh,
Good one.
Love
all right.
all y'all.
I wish
Thank
I could see all
y'all.
your faces, but I can't.
Everybody.
Hey, Darlene.
That's